Hey everyone, we're going to take a quick break to talk about our sponsor for the month, the Von Mack Agency. Von Mack is a full-service digital marketing agency with a focus on tour and activity operators. They offer it all: SEO, websites, pay-per-clicks, logos, content writing. If it's online marketing, they got you covered. As we mentioned before, it's uber important to hire an agency that understands our industry, and the Von Mack Agency knows water sports. Trust me.
And they do all the shit that you don't want to do. They do all the shit that you're probably not very good at, and they are. Look, for listeners of the show, America herself is giving a free consult, all right? If nothing else, give her a shout, give her a call, take 30 minutes out of your day. More importantly, take 30 minutes out of her day so she can get you straight on your marketing needs.
That's right. What do you have to lose? Head to vonmackagency.com and go to the Contact Us page to get started. Again, vonmackagency.com. And most importantly, let them know you were sent by the AWG guys. All right, let's get back to the show.
Welcome back to another super exciting episode, completely unprompted. I'm not using my radio voice at all. This is how I talk all the time, every day. Like, hey kids, how we doing? Who wants lunch? Get out of my gun collection. Atlas, stop playing with that 9. It's your boy, Kevin and Greg. All right, all bullshit aside, this is whatever episode it is, and it is myself. It is my Kimosabi, Greg. And today we are bringing in... Is it Andrew? Is it Drewbie? Is it Drew? Like, what's your handle these days?
No, my name is Drewbie Wilson. That's what you can call me, or L Drewbie if you're not into that whole brevity thing. It is by far my favorite movie.
You love The Big Lebowski, don't you? Yeah, I caught that reference. If you're not in the whole brevity thing, yeah, because you always call your son Duder, and I was like, man, that's a Big Lebowski reference right there. Yeah, so Drewbie. I mean, I don't know how to bring in, like, you're a sales professional, you do some consulting, you're in some e-commerce.
Well, in life, I am the chief day crusher here at Drewbie Wilson LLC, I guess. I don't know. No, my real title is I am currently the chief marketing officer at Break Free Academy and Apex. We are an 8-figure-a-year consulting company. We work with small business owners and entrepreneurs, and essentially, to simplify it, we help them make more money. Within that, as you mentioned, I've also vertically integrated. I've started an e-commerce business. I have a couple of digital products. I myself really focus and hone in on sales and marketing and growth. That's what allows me to really step up and become who I need to be in business. And so what I always like to think about is branding is really what people say about you when you're not in the room. So, like, to me, it's always hard to describe myself. I'm more looking to find out what other people are saying when I'm not around.
Yeah. So we brought Drewbie on today because if anyone wasn't at Arrival, and we're going to do an episode just on that, but it's something like I do a little sales talking myself, Drewbie. And something I sort of like honed in on that was like a very small portion of my overall message was like, and maybe the lesson for today, if we want to put a stamp on it, is sort of like, what can we learn from lost sales? And the data accrual that goes into that process. So why don't you walk us a little bit through, walk me through like a typical sale. So whether it be for, your side consultancy hustle, whether it be bringing someone into the Apex network, walk us through what that process looks like a little bit.
Yeah, man. So I really think the sales starts with the marketing aspect, right? You have to have client acquisition. You have to have awareness so that they can have an interest, and then they can make a decision, right? And take action. What is it? AIDA. That's Glenn Ross. And so once you've got someone's attention and they're asking questions, to me, the next thing is really to start dialing in and figuring out, can you help this person? So hey, welcome to the conversation. Here's what's going on. What made you decide to reach out? And then you ask a handful of questions to understand, are you a good fit to help them solve their problem or get where they want to go in life? And if you've figured out that you can, then you make them an offer. You provide them the opportunity to move forward. and then they're going to make a decision. They're either going to say, yes, I want to do this thing with you, or no, I'm not ready to do this thing with you, in which you have some objection handling, right? That's kind of the process. Typically, I find there's really three main objections that people deal with. It's value, right? They don't think that the value exceeds the price, so that they're not willing to make the investment into that product or service. Timing. It is not the right time for them to get that product or service, which that's something you can kind of handle through your conversation and the way that you approach the sale. And then the last thing is typically they have too much information and now they have to go back and think about it. And that could be maybe speaking to a spouse or trying to understand, really, is it going to solve their problem or get them the thing that they want? And so to me, that's kind of the whole sales process. You get attention. You have a conversation, you decide you're a good fit to help them with that product or service. They decide, yes, they want to work with you, or no, here's a reason why not. And then from there, you decide how you're going to proceed with the conversation. So for most great sales professionals, there's a follow-up process that you have to have for all of those lost sales, we'll call them. And really, they're not really lost until they've told you, hey, don't ever contact me again, or I've already bought the product or service from someone else. And even at that point, to me, there's still opportunity, because even if they did business elsewhere, it doesn't mean that they were happy with that service, and you may have an opportunity to earn them back or generate referrals. Or, I mean, I'm sure we can kind of nerd out on that a little bit, but that to me is kind of the process. Get attention, have a conversation, make an offer, move forward from there.
I know we're going to jump right into it here, but I had something, what you just said, something just sparked. So a lot of times I find with sales professionals or people getting into sales is when you have a rejection, when you lose the sale, it's like they feel like they just have to move on and they don't want to pester. Like I had a guy that worked for Trip Shock, and his job was to sign up activity suppliers to work with us. And I got an email one day from one of those activity suppliers that said, don't ever have that motherfucker call me again. And I asked him, like, what did you do to take it that far? And he's like, Greg, I just called them a lot. They never told me that they didn't want the product. They never said, I'm not interested. And I'm like, well, where's that fine line between, being a good salesperson and being persistent, and then, me as a, CEO getting a message like that where, sometimes those things can perpetuate to the community and like, okay, don't work with this company because they're very persistent or they may be pushy. So I don't know, maybe I'm jumping in real soon here, but that's just something that I think salespeople, struggle with, is like, how far do you take it?
I mean, I've gotten several of those messages to my bosses of like, hey, don't ever let that MFer call me. When I was in insurance, one time I got a call from the corporate level, and they're like, did you use a curse word on a sales call? And I was like, yeah, I said the system was being a pain in the ass because your system's a pain in the ass. And apparently it made its way all the way up to corporate, and I got reprimanded and all kinds of weird shit. But like, here's the thing. There is definitely a line, and I think it really comes back to every sales professional's moral, ethical standards, and then the expectations set by the company. Because I have to agree that, hey, if a guy's pestering someone, that's a problem. But if you can't do my guy the service of saying, hey, I'm not interested, then you're an asshole and I don't want to do business with you anyways. And truth be told, Greg, if you think about it, out of 100 clients that guy worked with, how many complained that he was too persistent?
Quite a few, actually. We won't go down that rabbit hole.
Well,
he doesn't work with us anymore, so there's a reason.
Okay. Well, all right, but that's a leadership and an expectation thing. I don't think that was necessarily, that was, hey man, if you called them every day for 1,700 days, then yeah, they got fucking annoyed. But like, did you have a system and a process in place to help him understand what that cadence should look like? Or did you just say, hey, go fucking sell some shit and don't come back unless you got money in the bank?
Yeah, I think I hired him because of his sales experience. So I really didn't have the systems in place to say, hey, this is what we do. I hired someone that has experience, but obviously maybe the type of sales that he was doing prior, rejection was very common, but we have a very small industry. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows each other. You screw someone over, it's going to perpetuate throughout our industry quickly because it's so small. But if it was like if you're selling to a consumer product, you piss someone off and then you move on to the next, and it doesn't really affect, that previous buyer.
I guess
So,
my response as a CEO in that situation would be, hey, man, I totally understand and appreciate where you're coming from. I'll let him know not to reach out and work on your account. But just so you know, that is the level of persistence we utilize when working with our clients. So if you want someone that's going to be there for you, you probably want to know that we're going to be there for you. So give me a call.
Are you tired of spending countless hours managing your water sport and boat rental reservations manually? Is your current system outdated or doesn't provide the necessary features that your business requires? Hi, I'm Greg Fisher, the CEO of WaveRes, an online reservation software built by operators for operators. With our system, you can offer 24/7 online booking to your customers, allowing them to book and pay for their rentals at their convenience. You can also send SMS notifications to your customers, keeping them updated on their reservation status and any changes that may occur. Custom options and dynamic pricing enable you to offer tailored packages to your customers, helping you stand out from your competitor. Plus, our system integrates with companies like Werewolf Digital Waivers and TripShock, streamlining your operations and ensuring a seamless booking experience for your customers. Our software is the best choice for water sport and boat tour operators, as it is designed to cater specifically to your needs. So why waste any more time on manual reservation management? Try WaveRes today and take your business to the next level. For a limited time, mention this ad and receive a $100 credit when you sign up. Check out waveres.com for more info or to schedule a free demo. Now let's get back to the show.
So my follow-up to that is like, what do you glean from the nose? Like the hard nose, the soft nose, like what is your takeaway on the people that tell you no, or what kind of information do you put in your CRM about someone who tells you no? And does that help shape like your sales process, your customer archetype? And if so, like which ways does it shape that?
I think every no is situational, and you can learn from the context of how you arrived at that no. So you got to reverse engineer like, hey, okay, if we started here where they had interest, and then at the end they said no, let's work backwards to figure out how we got there. Because sometimes a no is just like they weren't a good fit, and a no is okay. Sometimes a no is you said too much, you didn't hit their pain points, or sometimes, and I bet a lot of you that are listening will resonate with this, you do every single thing right. You think, oh my gosh, this person, like they're interested, they want to buy, and they still said no. And you didn't do anything wrong. It's just that individual has a certain buying archetype or a style or personality in which if they require two people to make them an offer before they make a decision and you were number one, there's nothing you could have done differently. It's just how they operate. So that's where I think every no can be learned from, because you can reverse engineer. You can say, okay, if I look back over this statistically, did I do my part correctly? Did I use my scripts? Did I ask all the right questions? Did I hit the pain points? Did I close the way that I would close that I know statistically shows to be the best route? And if I did all of those things, now can I look at it from their perspective? Okay, well, did I ask questions that really make their buying decision make sense? And then is it just a timeline thing? Because if it's a timing thing, then I know for me, it's more about, okay, don't go in with such a hard pitch up front. Let me do more education and entertainment part to build rapport, because I know that the timeline for this buying process isn't 30 days, it's 45 days or 60 days. Or, in your industry, it's like, hey, we need somebody that's going to buy right now. So when you're looking at the no's, it's like, okay, well, how are we standing when they approach the kiosk? How did we answer the phone? How did we respond to that message? There's so many little things that you can nuance from the no's, and you can start looking and measuring like, okay, if we did it this way and we do it this way every time, when we get a no, we can see where that no came from, and then we can change the way we do things, or we can just find that, hey, certain clients aren't going to do business with us, and that's fine. Now we adjust our marketing and our message to accommodate that.
Do you ever feel that there needs to be adjustments in your product based on customer? So there you go. Go with it. Run with it.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because you know what? If you just assume that your product is always perfect and you don't accept customer feedback, someone else will take that feedback and build a better product. Because here's what we fail to realize as business owners and entrepreneurs: we build products and then we don't use them every day. So the people who use them every day are really the ones who have the most experience. And until we accept the fact that while we may have created it, these are the people actually utilizing it. So we need to take their feedback and use it to implement to improve, or they're going to go and do it themselves. I just watched that BlackBerry movie on the plane the other day, and it talks about how like BlackBerry was the biggest company in the world for smartphones, and they lost because they refused to accept consumer feedback. And when they finally did accept it, it was too late, and it tanked the whole fucking company.
Yeah, and so it's exactly where I'm going with the train of thought. I think a lot of guys they fall in love with their own idea and they fall in love with their own product, and they can't really take the necessary criticism, feedback. Why is everybody telling me no, to shape how the evolution of the offer? Right. And it doesn't, when I say offer, it doesn't matter if it's a book, a wristband, a boat rental, a pizza, a hot dog. Like if you have product that's rotting on the vine, I mean, you can be persistent, you can follow up, you can be the greatest salesman on the planet. This guy could sell fucking ice cream to an Eskimo, but if that ice cream is like, tastes like shit, and everybody keeps saying it, it doesn't matter how great you fucking think it is, unless you're going to sell one ice cream cone for $1 million, right? Change your pricing, do a few things, but that's exactly that's a great response, great allegory, man. Because that BlackBerry movie was really, that guy was definitely. I watched that too, and it was he was his own impediment for sure. So this is why why I touched on this, because I'm interested. Like, so you're semi handcuffed in one regard because because inside of Apex you are, because it's not like you're like, hey man, like we really need to, and I'm sure you do, and I'm sure you get feedback from the management and Ryan and the guys who run the show over there, and they're like, yeah, we hear you, man, because it seems like a well, it doesn't Ryan Stewman, who runs Apex, as the CEO of Apex, doesn't strike me as being like too tyrannical. He seems like he can be a collaborative guy. He's like all of us. But so tell me a little bit about, like, and I'm not trying to get you to sell from the stage or anything here, but tell me a little bit about your journey, like outside of the realm of Apex, and like how that's shaping what you're doing. Like, I mean, you've done a few things, man. Give us a little bit of history on so your company is actually just Call the Damn Leads, right?
Yeah, so Call the Damn Leads is a brand that I've built. It's really a focus on e-commerce and branding the sales community together, because, I mean, let's be honest, fellas, sales is a life. It is a lifestyle, and there are people coming into this world every single day. They're exiting this world every day, and sales is the one place that you can truly write your own check. This is the thing about like entrepreneurship and the world in general that I think most people miss, is that if you don't understand sales and marketing, you're not going to be successful, because you are literally selling yourself day in and day out. Whether you're selling your product or service to a client, you're selling yourself to an investor, you're selling yourself to someone who's going to come to work for you for a significantly lower wage than what you take home, but you're going to expect them to put in as much or more work than you are. Like, this is life. So Call the Damn Leads is like my personal brand, but that's also what I've learned, because in my journey, I've had several different businesses. Some failed, some have succeeded. But I've learned at the core of it, what made the ones successful is that we called the damn leads. And that's what's allowed me to create my business in general. And like, I am in what I call an intrapreneur. Yes, I have we'll call it the golden handcuff as a CMO here at Apex, but ultimately I also know that I'm creating and planting seeds for the future by building vertically integrated businesses that feed to the top. So if I have a whole database of business owners and entrepreneurs that I know have sales as a background, well, it makes sense that they would feed in to consulting or to our software systems that we own. And, all of these different products that kind of come together. It's like you guys, you have the rentals, but you also have the course that you're working on, so that if someone needs it, they can get it so that they can go and get the boats. Like, you bring these things together to help feed each other, and you create an ecosystem. And that's really been my journey, is figuring out where I can plug myself in to provide, a great product or service, and then learning how I can bring in other products or services to, what's the word I'm looking for? Not accentuate, but essentially it works, but to kind of bring them together and help make them better and know that, hey, we're all working together to have synergy. And in doing so, for me, it's created a lot of opportunity because I have a great opportunity to grow this business and kind of build something. But then I've also got these personal brands that I'm able to build and grow, and I'm creating a long-term because to me, data is the true oil and resource. So long picture, I own the trademark for Call the Damn Leads. And at some point when we built a database of hundreds of thousands of business owners and entrepreneurs and all of these things, well, I can't fail to think that there's probably some business out there that will want to know about that or want to be able to use that branding in their marketing efforts. So now I'm just kind of creating this opportunity for passive income and growth because I know there is a movement of people behind it and I don't have to be the face of it. Hopefully I explained that well.
What do you say to somebody, let's just say in our industry that has maybe a call center, right? So we don't do a ton of outbound. I think our industry has to drill down on that a little bit more because as the economy starts to tighten up, you have to start thinking about different products and different ideas. And something we touched on at the conference was private tours, some more high ticket items. Like Greg and I are huge Disney fans, and we touched on the Disney private tour piece a little bit. So, historically, even a company like Disney is always their bread and butter is people buying tickets to their park, $150 a day, $400 a day. But there's a demographic for people that want to go to a private backlot tour of Disney that are going to pay whatever it is, $1,000 is a higher price ticket. And as the economy starts to shrink and the middle class income and discretionary income starts to abate, you have to reach into this different market of people that are not directly affected, still have money, and are willing to spend it. So as an industry who's historically focused on inbound sales calls, well, even just mostly digital marketing these days, it seems like everybody wants to run Google ads and convert online and everything like this, but our phones still ring. So what advice would you give to somebody who's okay, we're seeing a 20% decrease in market, and I want to, instead of taking my passenger boat and putting, 50 people paying $50, we need to find people that want to spend $3,000 or $3,500, and they still want it. Now you're maybe looking into corporate, team building opportunities and things like that. How would you suggest somebody starts that process of trying to hunt down the leads to call the damn leads?
I mean, first and foremost, man, you guys, if you've been in business, you have a database of leads sitting right there. Fucking call those people. I can't tell you how many business owners we know and talk to that are I need to make money. And we go, okay, did you offer your people that have bought from you before anything? And they go, no. It's well, hey man, if they've already bought from you, they know, like, and trust you, they're going to be your warmest audience. Go ask them if they want to buy some shit. And maybe you just reach out and you're like, hey guys, we really appreciate you doing business with us. We just want to run a little survey. If we were to offer any other services, what would they be? What would you be interested in? And ask them what they want. And they will literally tell you, well, hey man, if you could set me up with a private trip to go out to this thing, that would be super cool. And you go, fantastic. If I were to do that for let's say $5,000 and know that you were going to get X, Y, and Z, would that be of interest? And they go, well, fuck yeah, that would be of interest. And you go, okay, cool. And now you've got something that you can work from. And beyond that, as you said, if you're not getting creative and looking for ways to go out and acquire new clients versus just letting them come to you through digital marketing and advertising, here's what's going to happen, y'all. Guess what happens when everybody else is struggling? The big guys with more money, they're going to take over your market share because they can spend more ad dollars to acquire a customer than you can. So you need to start getting creative on how you're going to go out and acquire customers that doesn't rely upon you being able to go and put $100 into Facebook ads and guessing that you're going to get anywhere from 100 to 150 back if you're lucky. You guys know that most people don't self-liquidate on their front-end offers. There's a ton of extra work that goes into marketing to make it profitable. So why not pick up the phones and call all those people that you've already got their information and just say, hey, if I were to have something outside of what you've already bought from me and you would be interested in it, what would that be? I'd be willing to bet you'll get a few answers to figure out a few ways to make a couple bucks.
You made a great point about the big companies. Like, we're already seeing this. Like Viator, TripAdvisor, they're spending an ungodly amount of money right now, making it, I mean, even for me, my company spends a lot of money on Google ads and Facebook ads. We're seeing the pinch. It's not cheap anymore. And it went up substantially more because, there's less customers this year and more companies out there wanting the business. So just simple supply and demand. Yeah. Now they're going to go really hard for those customers. And we're seeing, 2 to 3 times more for that same customer we're paying. And it's getting to the point where the margins are just not there in Google in a lot of instances. So,
and it's not even just like the competitors. Sorry to cut you off. It's not just your competitors. It's the election cycle is getting ready to start happening. So the media buyers for who's trying to take market share in the election and politics, they're also taking that media space. So you're paying extremely more because they're also playing in the game, and you're fighting for space against guys that can afford to outpace you. That's just the truth.
Yeah, I've noticed that in the remarketing side of things, like display remarketing, it has gotten to the point where it doesn't even make sense. And you're right. It's likely going to be the election money coming in, and they're taking that ad space. Yeah, I hear everything. It's wild, and that's why I was very interested. Kat, I don't know if you saw, but there was a class on like corporate sales at a rival. That guy Kelsey Tonner. He'd be a good guest to have on. But all of the tour operators that listen to our show, corporate sales is like, that's the first thing I'm thinking of. Like we live by a military, one of the biggest, two biggest military bases in the world. I would be going and calling, someone at the military who handles entertainment and recreation and forming relationships today. Seeing how to get in there and how to form relationships. Maybe there's some RFPs out there for recreation. So, that's just the start. Nonprofits, just company team building, banks, real estate agents. I know Kevin, there's probably something on Kevin's list, to just call and make those relationships. Schools are a big thing, like for especially like dolphin tours when they do their field trips. There's so much outside of just their digital marketing that no one ever does. And the companies that do that here are all successful.
Yeah, man. I got to touch on this because it's just something in our industry that you just do not see happening. Like sales is such a sliver of what, like nobody thinks about it. Like you have call centers, like Drewbie, if you heard like some of the calls that I've made to some competitors and their people on the other end of the phone, it's something Steve Amp, the founder of Amp Agency, is a sponsor of the show. He's like, man, you guys don't even ask for the close. You're just like, hey, man, you just call up like, hey, you guys got a jet ski for rent? Or how much is a jet ski? It's like, oh, it's like $99. Okay, thanks, bye. You know what I mean? It's not like, hey, $99. You want to do that? Like, no discovery, no, like, and companies that do 10, 15, 20, 30, 35, $40 million, man, like, and that's the way their call center works. So even the idea of actually doing outreach and having a sales team and like cold calling to these people is just like, it's tantamount to heresy. Like, and it's something at our so we do a small conference, Drewbie, that's attached to a larger conference, and they have a rule. They're marketing guys, they're education guys. It's a great fucking conference for operators. It truly is. But they have such a hard line on selling from the stage, right? So when their people get up, it's like it's more of a TED talk, and they definitely don't allow any selling from the stage at all. It's not how they work. You sponsor their thing. You come up there, you provide value, information, and hey, I'm the CEO of X, Y, and Z. And if you're interested, like whatever, people back there. And that's how they sort of do it. But it feels like the whole industry is sort of like inundated with this mindset that like, oh, we're hotels or we're plane, you know what I mean? Like you don't have American Airlines calling you up and saying like, hey man, some of them do. And I bet you those hotels.
Yes,
really
man.
well.
I get calls from them kind of companies all the time, man. True. They send us messages, they reach out like, it's the perspective of these operators, man. And I don't mean to cut you off, but like it is one of those frustrating things that I hear from people that are like, well, the big people don't have to do that. BS. They most definitely do that. It's just that you don't see it or you don't hear from them because you're not their ideal client right now, or you're already a client, so they don't have a reason to call you. But like I get messages from Amex, I get messages from the hotels almost daily, offers, this, that, whatever. They're reaching out. So I don't like that excuse.
Yeah, man. I mean, so neither do I. And I mean, it's funny. Like I'll go into the room in Apex and I'll be like, man, some of you guys are fucking just terrible marketers, man. You know, like, and there's even a couple guys in our industry that are like, this idea of paying for advertising is like fucking, for whatever reason, like the dick measuring contest, like is like, oh man, you know, I got this lead for $0, or I paid $0 in marketing. Well, fucking congratulations, dude. Like if I can spend 10 and make 100 back, then like, why am I not going to fucking scale my business using those means? You know what I mean? Like fucking like, we're not going to sponsor the fucking show. You guys talk about us enough as it is. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Not anymore. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, so, and so like I'll go into one room and I'm like, sales. And then I go into another room and I'm like, marketing. Cause it's like, guys, sales and marketing. Every fucking massive corporation on the planet has both those departments, and advertising. Like, yeah, absolutely. And they work in chorus with each other, right? So that's why I sort of brought you on. Is like, well, and like you made the point for me. It was like, well, now you have this whole list of people. Why can't you just fucking call them up and just be like, hey, man, like, again, it doesn't even necessarily need to be a cold call sales thing. It can just be more discovery, which, as you well know, is like 99% of sales. How can I solve your problem? And what are we doing with that data as an industry to not only convert more sales and make our marketing better and get all these things working together, a well-oiled machine, but as I hinted at earlier, how is it shaping your customer experience and your products?
So Drewbie, we're about at the. I know you had a hard stop at 10:45, so we'll wrap it up. But can you leave us with some actionable or items that our listeners can take away? Like what should they be doing after they listen to this show?
100%. So I'm going to make this real easy on them. I'm going to give them a metric that they can measure, and this is what's going to allow them to improve. So what's made me successful is I focus on this: minimum of 100 outbound contacts a day, 10 serious conversations, with 2 closed sales. Now that sounds like a lot, and anybody that says it's a lot has never really actually done sales. So you're going to be putting those guys through the ringer. But here's what you need to tell them. I don't expect you to get all 3 every day. I just need you to get 2 out of 3 every day consistently. Because I know over time, if you work 20 to 22 days a month, which is average, and you put in that amount of effort every single day, the statistics and the numbers don't lie, you will end up averaging somewhere between 30 and 50 sales a month. And so whatever your product, your margin is, you just plug in the numbers and you scale it from there. If you want to make more money as a sales professional, as a business owner, you need to know how much profit you average per sale. And then you need to know the numbers of how many conversations you have to have so that you can have a real conversation with an offer that ends in a closed sale. 110 to every day, all day, and it'll make you successful.
Words of wisdom to live by, man. And how can people find you, brother? And reach out to you, find your content. You have a podcast as well. Drewbie's written a couple books. Drewbie's a fucking machine, man. But if people are interested in Apex and interested in sales training, they're interested in just great words of wisdom, what are the platforms they can find you?
Yeah, man, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Drewbie Rides. If you go to connectwithdrewbie.com, it literally has a button. You can text me directly. It is right to my cell phone, so I answer all of those messages. You can also check out my podcast. I have 3 books on Amazon. Man, I really.
What's your podcast called?
It's called Crushing the Day.
What's your podcast?
Crushing the Day podcast, baby. Boom. That's it. So, yeah, man, thank you guys for bringing me on. I really appreciate it. I hate that I have to run, but I mean, time and discipline is one of those things that's made me successful. But more importantly, it's calling the damn leads. So, you fellas, thank you again. I can't wait to check in on you guys and send some more information. Anybody needs me, reach out. Kevin, I love you, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Love you too, dude. Thanks so much, Drew.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. And as always, keep it awkward.